My name is Daniel Carter. I was born into a life most people could only dream of. My father was a billionaire who built a business empire from the ground up. But I wasn't interested in that world of luxury and power. I wanted something real, something that wasn't tied to my last name. So, I walked away from all of it. I started fresh in a small European city using a fake identity. No one knew my background. I worked as a part-time mechanic, lived in a modest apartment, and spent most evenings reading or walking through quiet streets. And that's where I met her, Sophie Hart. She was beautiful, confident, and full of dreams. Sophie worked as a marketing assistant in a corporate office nearby. We met at a small cafe where she spilled coffee on my shirt, and our story began with a laugh. She didn't know who I was, and I didn't tell her. I wanted her to love me for me, not for my money, not for my name. And for a while she did. Our days were simple, full of joy. Walks in the park, cheap pizza nights, midnight conversations about the future. I fell hard for her. And eventually, I asked her to move in. Sophie was everything I thought I ever wanted. But slowly, things began to change. She started dressing differently, coming home late, glancing at her phone too much, smiling at texts she wouldn't explain. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be the jealous boyfriend. Then one day, I followed her, and my world shattered. She wasn't working late. She was having dinner at a fancy rooftop restaurant with her boss, Liam Wright, a smooth-talking executive known for flirting with every woman in the office. I watched as she laughed, leaned closer, touched his arm. It was more than work. My heart broke quietly. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I went home, sat in the dark, and realized something painful. She didn't know what she was giving up. But she would. The next morning, I acted like nothing happened. Sophie came home late, tiptoeing into the apartment, assuming I was asleep, but I had been wide awake, lying still, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of betrayal quietly walk in. She slid into bed beside me without a word. The next few days were the hardest part. I pretended everything was fine. I kissed her goodbye before she left for work. I made her breakfast. I asked her about her day. She lied with such ease it almost amazed me. And yet I still loved her. I wanted to believe it was a mistake, that maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked. But the truth kept punching me in the chest. I knew what I saw, and I couldn't ignore it forever. So I started planning. Not to fight, but to leave. Not just her, but this whole life. You see, what Sophie didn't know is who I really was. She didn't know the quiet mechanic she was cheating on was worth over $2.7 billion. That the small apartment we lived in was rented under a fake name. That every simple thing she loved was paid for by a man she thought was broke. She didn't know the ring I had bought her a few months back and hidden in a drawer was a custom diamond made from my late mother's collection. She didn't know any of it. And now, she never would. Until the moment I decided to reveal it all. But I had to time it right. So I started gathering everything. I pulled out security footage, screenshots of her texts with Liam, her phone, which I had cloned months ago to track in case of emergencies. Turns out, trusting your partner sometimes means being ready to be broken by them. Every proof I needed was right there. I didn't even need to confront her with words. I'd let the truth speak for itself. The final straw came one Friday night. She told me she was going out with the girls from the office. I smiled, nodded, and said, "Have fun." But I had already booked a private table at the same rooftop restaurant from before. Not to spy, but to be seen. I arrived in a black tailored suit, a different version of me. Clean, sharp, untouchable. I brought a woman friend, someone from my old life, to play the role of my date. She was more than willing. When Sophie walked in, her smile faded instantly. She saw me. The man she thought was just a poor, harmless boyfriend, dressed like a billionaire, laughing across from someone far more elegant than her. She froze. Liam whispered something in her ear, probably asking why she looked like she saw a ghost. I lifted my glass and toasted her from across the room. And that was it. I didn't go home that night, and I didn't answer her texts or her calls. She had betrayed a man who would have given her the world. Now, I was going to show her what that world really looked like without her in it. I moved out the next day. Not with a fight, not with anger, just silence. I left the keys on the kitchen table, along with a printed folder, thick, heavy, containing everything. Screenshots, hotel bills, GPS logs, pictures, even a letter I wrote explaining that I knew everything, that I had known for a while, and that I was done. She came home to an empty apartment. No note on the door, no goodbye message, just the silence of a man who had stopped begging to be loved. She called me 37 times in one night, left voicemails, crying, screaming, apologizing, said she didn't know why she did it, said it was a mistake, said she still loved me. But it was too late, because something in me had already died. Not the love, but the hope. The belief that she ever truly saw me for who I was. The next week, I flew to Geneva, where my real house was. Not a rented apartment, but a massive estate, hidden in the green hills overlooking the lake. My team welcomed me back like family. My assistant updated me on the businesses. My private banker confirmed the new investment deals. My security chief debriefed me on everything that had happened in my absence. I had stepped away from this billionaire life to experience love as a normal man, and I had failed. Not because I wasn't enough, but because she didn't value what was real. Now I was back, and I wasn't hiding anymore. Sophie didn't know any of this. She still thought I was just gone, maybe crashing at a friend's place. She kept messaging, asking for closure, begging me to talk to her. One day, she sent a message that made me pause. "I didn't cheat because I didn't love you. I cheated because I thought we'd never have a future. You're too stuck. You don't dream." I laughed when I read that, because she had no idea. I owned 7 companies. I had 2 private jets. I had a future bigger than anything she could have ever imagined. But I chose to live simply, because I wanted someone who loved me, not the money. And she failed that test. Still, I wasn't angry. I wasn't vengeful. I just moved on. Until one day, I saw her again. At an international tech event I was sponsoring. She was there, not as a guest, but working at a small booth, promoting her company's software. She didn't see me at first, but I saw her. And I decided it was time for her to see me. For real. Sophie was handing out brochures, smiling nervously at passing guests, trying to get their attention. She wore a sleek black dress and her hair tied back, trying to look confident. But I saw through it. The panic in her eyes, the exhaustion, the desperation. Her company wasn't doing well.